Something absolutely unthinkable just happened in the halls of Westminster. The sort of moment that pundits said was impossible, that the media laughed off, and that Labour arrogantly dismissed as a pipe dream. But it's real, it's happened, and the tremors from it already shaking the foundations of the political establishment. In what's being called a historic voter revolt, Nigel Farage has just done what no one thought could be done. He's booted Labour out, right on the floor of the Commons, and the reaction? Utter chaos. But before we break it down, subscribe to Precious Update, the only channel bringing you the bold, raw truth about British politics that the mainstream is too terrified to say out loud. We report what they want hidden. Now, to say the Commons erupted is an understatement. This was eruption, meltdown, and panic all wrapped into one. The old guard could barely contain their shock. Red-faced Labour MPs looked across the benches in stunned silence as Farage, with nothing but his unapologetic grin and a sea of new allies behind him, rose and delivered a verbal blow to Keir Starmer's party so devastating it left the room speechless. It wasn't just what Farage said, it was what he represented. The people, the forgotten, angry, betrayed people. This wasn't a political stunt. This was a reckoning. And it all traces back to one thing: the people have had enough. For years, Labour claimed to be the party of the working class, yet their actions told a different story. Silence on grooming gangs, condescending lectures on patriotism, open borders, woke policing, and out-of-touch leadership that cared more about winning London wine bars than Northern heartlands. The betrayal was complete, but the elite didn't see the storm coming. Nigel Farage did. He's been warning about this exact voter revolt for years. He's travelled across the country, holding town halls, taking flack from the media, and standing toe-to-toe with the establishment that tried to silence him. And now, his moment has arrived. What triggered this Commons eruption was a vote, a key, symbolic vote that saw Labour lose control in a chamber they thought they owned. Farage and his allies turned the tide, powered not by lobbyists, but by the voice of the people. When the Speaker announced the results, there was a stunned pause, then the shouting began. And it was Labour's side doing most of the yelling. What followed was the most chaotic scene in recent parliamentary memory. Angela Rayner stood frozen. Keir Starmer, visibly rattled, struggled to respond. Some Labour MPs even began pointing fingers at each other, accusing one another of betrayal, poor campaigning, and complacency. A senior Labour aide was heard shouting, "This is a disaster. This is Brexit all over again." Farage, in classic form, soaked in the moment. He didn't gloat, he didn't shout, he simply stood and said what millions were thinking. You ignored them, you mocked them, you lectured them, and now they've spoken, loudly. And he's right. This wasn't just a vote. This was an earthquake, a turning of the tide. A warning shot across the bow of every establishment party that believed the people could be endlessly ignored. Outside the Commons, the scene was just as explosive. Protesters gathered in support, chanting Farage's name. Supporters online called it the Great Red Collapse. On social media, clips of the eruption went viral within minutes. Thousands of comments poured in, many from former Labour voters who said they'd never go back. So what does this all mean? What happens next? This isn't just a one-day headline. This was a moment of political realignment. Farage has now proven he can deliver where others merely talk. He's not just a voice in the wilderness anymore, he's a force in Parliament, backed by momentum the other parties don't know how to stop. Labour, on the other hand, is in crisis. Their leadership is divided, their base is crumbling, and their connection to the everyday Briton, virtually gone. If they think this was a one-off embarrassment, they're deluding themselves. This was a sign of what's coming, of a new political landscape where Farage isn't just a disruptor, he's the alternative. And Keir Starmer, he looked like a man who saw his career flash before his eyes. He tried to strike a serious tone in his response, but it rang hollow. Empty, rehearsed, as if he still believed that repeating "we're for working people" would somehow convince anyone after years of doing the exact opposite. The truth is, Farage has tapped into something powerful, a hunger for accountability, for borders that mean something, for national pride, and for leaders who actually listen. And after today, even his critics can't deny it. We've entered a new era. One where the safe, scripted, corporate politics of yesterday is finally being challenged. Where a man who once stood on the sidelines has now stormed the castle. And make no mistake, this is just the beginning. The Commons may have erupted today, but what's coming next could reshape British politics for a generation. If you stand with truth, with sovereignty, with freedom, subscribe to Precious Update. We're not afraid to say what others won't. And we'll be here to cover every twist, every battle, and every broken illusion in this new fight for Britain's future. Thanks for watching and stay alert. The real fight has only just begun.